Belmar, New Jersey is one of the most vibrant and beloved beach towns at the Jersey Shore. So whether you're here for the stunning beaches, incredible restaurants, or just the exciting nightlife, Belmar has something to offer for everybody. So on today's video, we're taking a map tour of Belmar, New Jersey. We'll cover everything from the commute to work, whether that's New York City or Philadelphia, the school systems, and a couple other things. But before we get started, if it's your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. And on the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you want to be the first one to know what's going on in your Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video started. To kick us off, I have an outline of Belmar right here over on Google Maps, and I would say about maybe 1/3 or so of it's going to be made up of water versus maybe some other towns. It's going to be 1.6 square miles and has a population of roughly 5,900 residents. If you're looking for it in terms of where it's located in Monmouth County, got that pulled up for you already. That's going to be located in red down here, so not going to be the biggest town by any means, because as you see in Western Monmouth, there's going to be a lot larger of towns, but also when you get across the shoreline right here, there's going to be much smaller ones too. So while it's probably in the bottom half for size, it's not going to be the tiniest. Moving on to just major roadways in the area, there's only going to be one that comes directly through Belmar, and that's going to be Route 35. I'll outline for you real quick. That's going to be along right here. And Route 35 is an awesome roadway to be near because that's going to drive you, or you can get from as north in Woodbridge in Middlesex County all the way down south into the Seaside Heights area. So it goes a very long way through pretty much all the Jersey Shore towns. As you zoom out, though, there are some other major roadways that you can go through. So while 35 also goes north to south, that's going to be non-toll. The same thing for Route 18, north to south, non-toll. Right here is going to be Route 138, but that quickly turns into Route 195. So 195 will go across the entire central part of Central Jersey. I'll zoom out for you real quick. There we go. As you can see, that's going to cut directly across. So that brings you literally from Belmar on the shore all the way to the other side near Trenton and into Pennsylvania. So it's an awesome roadway to go on. 65-mile-per-hour speed limit, no lights until you get, I think, right at the end of Trenton towards the end, but that's pretty much about it. So awesome roadway, one of my favorites to drive on and get east to west on. I live in the Northern Brick area, so I use it quite often between that. And then last but not least, the only toll road on this side is going to be the Garden State Parkway. This will bring you from New York City all the way down to the most southern point in New Jersey in Cape May. And yes, it will be a toll road, but if you are going to commute into New York City, this is probably going to be your main way to do so. But those are your majority of like the major roadways in here. Another, I guess, somewhat big one if you really want to go into it. It's not a big roadway. It's a small one because it goes across the entire beach, but it goes through quite a few towns. You got Ocean Ave right here, and this is the last road right before you hit the Jersey Shore section with the beach over here. So, and that's another thing with the beach. Belmar is a shore town, so you do have access to getting to the water and the boardwalk over there. It's one of the nicer boardwalks. It's not going to have the traditional style, so you see like on TV, maybe with like Point Pleasant and Seaside Heights, where you're going to have the rides, the games, and everything like that. It's a simple boardwalk. There's going to be stores and different shops and diners and restaurants on the other side, but it's not going to be like the one with like all the rides and attractions to it. But overall, very nice place. You want to go for a run, walk. It's a beautiful location. In terms of getting to the beach, they're going to have daily and seasonal passes. So for dailies, they're going to be kids under 13 getting free, and then the daily passes are going to be $12. Seasonal ones are going to be $80, and then 32 if you're going to be seniors, so 65 and up. But overall, that's kind of a little bit of rundown about just Belmar's location in general. Next up I want to cover is going to be the commute to work. From this location, as I just mentioned with Route 195, you can get to either Philadelphia or New York City pretty easily. So we'll just do Philly real quick because there's only one way to get out there, unfortunately. So you don't have a bus or a train. Well, there's a bus. It's not very efficient. I think it takes like 3.5 hours. So obviously no one's going to want to do that on top of an 8-hour workday each way. But in terms of a train, there's nothing that's going to be across the central part of New Jersey over here. So if you want to get from Belmar to Philadelphia, it says about an hour, 23 minutes, say an hour and a half. That's if I left now while I'm making this video about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that'd be the kind of go in the reverse way traffic. But if we depart at 7 a.m., it's probably getting a little better of a time frame for you. And that's going to be closer to anywhere between about an hour and 20 up to 2 hours. So that's going to be a little bit more common. I would say it's a little bit more accurate. If there is zero traffic, you're definitely close to that hour 15, hour 20 mark. But if you're going to be, the typical rush hour commute, yeah, it can be upwards of 2 hours or so. I would bank for at least about an hour and a half. That's what typically I have to do, or it takes me to get from Brick to Philadelphia area, especially at the airport if I ever have to go there. So just kind of a heads up on that. So I would say probably more close to an hour and a half, but since you're so close to 195 over there, you might be able to trim off a couple minutes there too. So that's Philadelphia. That's the easy one. New York City, you're gonna have quite a few different options. We'll just start with driving yourself because I'm already on the screen, honestly. We'll see where it kind of takes us. I don't know exactly what part of New York, but kind of looks like the Wall Street financial district. So that's going to be more the southern portion. Roughly about the same time frame, hour and 15 to 2 hours. It's all just going to depend on traffic that day. The easiest route that they have you take is this is going to be the Garden State Parkway, like I mentioned before, and that's going to be just driving yourself, and it's going to be the toll road I mentioned. One thing I will say about that, being that is a toll road, recently New York City hit New Jersey with congestion tolls. So anyone that's entering the city using their personal vehicle, commercial vehicle, anything along those lines, the tolls are going to be jacked up more than what they were in 2024 and previous years. So I forget the exact daily rate. I think it's closer to $9 now. And then when you add in everything going up into New York City, I did another video on it. I could link it down below for you if you want. It costs roughly about like 30, $35, depending on exactly where you're coming from in Jersey to get into New York City now. So it's definitely a heftier price tag than what it used to be. And when you compare it to maybe taking the train or the bus, this is going to be one of the more expensive options now versus previously it wasn't. The only thing I will say is obviously you're not relying on public transportation this way. So you could say the flexibility is better here, but it is going to cost you more nowadays. Your next couple of options are going to be taking the train or taking the bus. The train, pretty easy. There's a station directly in Belmar. And there's two different routes you just have to kind of be aware of which one you might be on. So there is one that's going to be up here. You can notice you see Long Branch. I always thought they were like this. Apparently, they do have some express ones that I'll get to in just a second, but you will have to get on a different train. So you'll be in Belmar to Long Branch, hop on a different line, and from there, it'll take you into New York Penn Station. But the one right here, they have express routes now. So I always thought it was like the previous way you had the off in Long Branch. I guess not anymore. So just be aware of it. They're going to shave maybe another extra 15, 10, 15 minutes off if you take the express one versus going to just, or you have to depart or get off in Long Branch and then hop back on another train. So just be aware of it. But also, I mean, time frame wise, if you had a flawless commute into New York City, driving would be quicker. But this way, I mean, roughly probably about the same time. One thing I want to mention, monthly passes, remind myself there. So one way, like I mentioned, you have $19 right here, and driving yourself would be about 30 to 35 in total. With 19, yes, it would be more expensive, but when you drop it down to the monthly price, you can actually use this an unlimited amount of times for this location. So from Belmar to New York City. Penn Station is gonna be closer to maybe like that Lincoln Tunnel area, so gonna be a little bit farther north of like the Wall Street District and other spots. So depending on where you work in New York City, may also depend on where you want to or what kind of commute you want to take. So just something to be aware about if you're going to be driving there or commuting there every single day. You're not working a hybrid schedule. I would definitely look into the monthly pass versus doing the one ways. Next up, we're taking the bus. There's two different ways you can do so, either through NJ Transit or the Academy. NJ Transit, definitely not the way to go there. Kind of similar to what it looks like in Philadelphia. You'll be dealing with a 3 hour commute. The reason being is they're not a direct route from Belmar into New York City. So you'd have to hop in, get into Asbury, from Asbury over to Freehold, and then from Freehold into Penn Station. So it would take, or Port Authority. So at that point, it would take absolutely forever. What you want to do is end up taking an Academy bus. So there's two different routes you can possibly go through. Shore Points, which is going to operate Monday, or has a different schedule on Friday versus Monday through Thursday, but just kind of give you a ballpark here. Belmar, you'd be leaving at 5:18, and then you get to the city in Port Authority about 7 o'clock. So not a terrible time frame at all. They just what's that, about an hour and 40 minutes? It looks like, yeah, an hour and 42 minutes. So roughly about the same as the train, maybe a little bit quicker, but it's not going to be anything like dramatically different from between basically taking the train, the bus, or just driving yourself. The cost is going to be roughly about a little cheaper than train, but pretty close to the same there. And then the other option would be taking the parking ride. So the one I just mentioned with Short Points will pick you up in Belmar. The parking ride is going to be in Wall Township, but not very far away. So back by exit 100. So we can go back to the maps over here, right where you pretty much would hop on the Garden State Parkway. This spot right here, that's the parking ride. So if we zoom out for you a little bit, you got Belmar, drive to here, and there you go. I would say it's, I don't know, maybe a 10-minute drive at the absolute most if you hit like a light or two when you're inside the Belmar section, but that's pretty much about it. So a 10-minute drive to the parking ride. The reason you might want to take the parking ride is kind of like I mentioned before. They have two different options. You can either get to the Wall Street District or Port Authority. So it gives you While whereas the short points only took you to Port Authority, this one can get you to Wall Street District, which would be in the more southern portion, and definitely shave you off time on your commute. Because otherwise, you'd be stuck going to Port Authority, then taking the subway just adds more time to your commute. Versus they'll be a little bit more direct that way. So those are pretty much your main ways and time frames in order to get to from Belmar to either Philadelphia or New York City. They're all roughly about the same time frame. So depending on which place you would work at, you can get to them all about the same. So moving on to the school districts, there's two main ones, two public schools, and then you have a private school also option as well. So Belmar Elementary is going to be for grades K through 8, all lumped into just one school district. According to niche.com, they have about roughly 400 students, 7 to 1 student teacher ratio, and again, do grades K through 8. Nothing like phenomenally outstanding. They pretty much rank middle of the pack for like a lot of stuff over here. And it's gonna be a smaller school district because one, smaller township just in general, and like it's very common with a lot of the beach towns in our area. So they'll only have maybe one section, or just one school for basically all the grades. But once you get into high school, that actually switches to Manasquan High School. So they're gonna be districted over there. Manasquan takes in the majority of the shore towns along where Belmont's kind of located. So if we go back to the maps real quick, you got Manasquan down here, but it's going to take in from Brielle, Seagirt, Spring Lake, Belmar. I think Avon's in there. There's a total of 8 different towns, including Manasquan themselves. So they'll be the kind of like the regional high school for that area. With niche.com, they're going to be ranked an A minus and the 13th best public high school in Monmouth County, which is kind of cool because it just shows you how good the school system really is in Monmouth County. That an A minus only gets you to the 13th spot and not even anywhere. Doesn't even crack that top 10 at that point. So just something to look into. Manasquan High School has about 950 students, grades 9 through 12, and a student teacher ratio of 11 to 1. So sports programs are usually pretty good over there. If I'm not mistaken, I know last year or 2 years ago they had a dramatic loss, at least their boys basketball team in the state semifinals. They actually should have went to the finals. They ref called a terrible call. Shot was in. They called it off, but regardless, they usually are very competitive in many of the sports, basketball, track, baseball, all that kind of stuff. So really, really good high school to go to, and being close to water, never hurts either. So the one other option you would have is going to St. Rose High School. Speaking of basketball programs, I think their team just won the short conference not long ago, either last year or the year before. They're ranked the 7th best private high school in Monmouth County, also an A minus. Smaller school, similar to kind of what the Belmar K through 8 program is, so a little bit less than 400 students. 10 to 1 student teacher ratio. They have a tuition for $12,000 here on niche. I know that's lower. I think it's closer to that 15 range now. So that definitely has to get updated, but just kind of give you an idea of what that's going to cost you roughly for going to St. Rose. Most of the private high schools in our area do give some type of financial aid, so there is going to be options along those lines too. Because some of the shore towns, again, if you don't want to, if you're living like that, maybe like Neptune, Asbury Park area where the public high schools necessarily aren't the best, this might be a better option for you to go to. Moving on to the real estate. We are a real estate channel, obviously. Belmar is kind of a different town than others in our area, especially being along the shore. You have an owner occupancy rate. I don't know how accurate this is. I kind of ballparked it off of a couple different websites that I found, but an owner occupancy rate of 70% and 30% rentals and residential. In a sense, if you're unaware, if you don't live from Jersey, we have the Jersey Shore here, like we mentioned with Belmar earlier, but so many different coastlines along just Monmouth County, Ocean County, and farther. I think total is about 130 or 140 miles, the entire coastline. So a lot of towns, and it's a big part of our economy. You're talking 120, 125 million people visit here every year. And that's pretty much just for the Jersey Shore in between Memorial Day and Labor Day, which is our peak months. And those are, if you want the busiest times of the year, those are by far it, and then 4th of July as well. So people rent out houses for the week, the month, or even the entire summer. They'll get a bunch of people together, go in on a home, and they basically stay there certain days. Overall, though, Belmar's probably going to have a little bit more of a residential population or owner occupied versus some other shore towns too. So you still get that kind of vibe, but it has a pretty vibrant nightlife, and you're close to the water, so that's going to raise the prices up as you'll see in a second. So the median prices, I go based off of the median. I just think they're a little bit more accurate than the averages because the averages can be skewed one way or the other, right? Low prices being sold versus the high ones too. So they have it as $887,000 right now, but you can see the average is over $1.3 million. So I would say for this one, if you want a single family home here in Belmar, you definitely are going to be a 7-figure range, especially if you're anywhere near the water. If you're seeing the water, I don't know if you can possibly be under $1 million at this point. And That's just the way Belmar's gone over the last couple of years. While a lot of parts of Monmouth County have appreciated, Belmar has definitely done the exact same. In terms of inventory that we have on the market, right now it looks to be at its 12-month low over here. Was as high as about 4.5. That was back in August of last year. So it's typically common for our real estate to look like this. So in a cyclical way, we have the most amount of inventory in the summer months over here. And then in the winter and fall, we're going to be at our lowest. So right now we're just kind of coming out of that. So once March is finally over, we'll have the stats for that one. But hopefully you start to see that uptick just a little bit. Last year, the absorption rate was 3 months worth of inventory in March. Right now we're sitting about 2.8, 2.9. So it's not far off, but you can see from March to April last year how much of a difference that really could make right there. It basically starts to shoot up dramatically. We are seeing that slightly on the inventory side as just when I'm showing buyers and stuff, but homes, if they're well priced, they are still going pretty quick around here. But overall, so low inventory currently and high prices. Anytime you're going to have a water view, a waterfront property, guys, there's only so many of them out there that's going to obviously just jack the price up in general. There's a very high demand for homes like that. I will say though, being close to the beach, being close to the water, do you have to take in flood insurance into account? And if you're buying with a mortgage, they're going to require it for you, and it's a separate type of insurance from your homeowners. Not every carrier. Some have backed out of Jersey. I know Florida's having an absolute crapshoot right now with that. So not every carrier is going to offer flood insurance. You just have to find one that does. So just make sure you ask your insurance professional if you need any recommendations. Let me know. Have plenty of them as well. So as we move into Belmar, I'll bring up some closed sales and some active ones, what we kind of have going on over the last year or so. So 83 sales, or let's see, there's 16 active. So what's that, about 67 sales last year? Not too bad. And not everything's going to be expensive. As you can see right here, the first listing that comes up, a new one, $400,000. This is going to be a one-bedroom condo and apartments, kind of like, or towers overlooking everything. So there are those type of options too. The only thing I would say they don't have is pretty much adult communities in Belmar. There's only one community to my knowledge, and it's more towards like the West Belmar Wall area versus it is going to be like closer to the water and the beach. But just kind of give you an idea of what 400,000 would get you here. You're not going to have central AC. You're going to have like the wall unit right there. But overall, I mean, not too bad an apartment if this is going to be a vacation home for you, something along those lines. You're only going to use it during the summer months when you want to go closer to the water. Really doesn't look too bad. And for that price point, it's actually very reasonable considering what else you're going to have to pay once you get into Belmar in general. So this one right here, this is going to be on the lower end for a single family home. 2 bed, 1.5 baths, 687 square feet only, built in 1930. So that one's going up for 750 right now. It has been on the market for a little while. They get price reduced, but less than 700 square feet and you're paying over 700,000 for it. And it's absolutely gorgeous inside from just the photos. Maybe not everyone's taste because it's maybe a little too modern for some, but in general, that is like about as pristine as it possibly gets. When you get a little bit farther down, that's where the most price points you're going to see 1.2, 1.3, 1.5. Anything new construction, this one's in the $2.3 million range. I don't know how else to explain it other than it's just a Jersey Shore nowadays. It's very difficult to find a home, a really nice one for a reasonable price. And in Belmar, it's not uncommon whatsoever. So if you are looking into maybe getting into an investment property, looking at Airbnbs, this might not be necessarily the best location, depending on how much you can obviously rent them out for during the summer months. I could tell you just from experience, if you want to just get a week at the Jersey Shore now, whether it's LBI, which is Long Beach Island, that's my favorite place to go. If you want to go into Belmar, some weeks, depending on the size of the house, guys, it's going to be like 7 or 8,000, especially during those peak months. So I would say anything from July and August, that's going to be our main, like those 8 to 9 weeks. Those are like our main peak months. June's typically a little bit less, maybe like 1,000 off, but that's pretty much about it. So just be aware of that. But that's kind of how the real estate market works. So more for the Jersey Shore, you have to kind of take into account that you might not be bidding against just another homeowner. You might be bidding against an investor, and sometimes the numbers work. They can go for it, but it kind of all depends on that aspect. But if you are looking to move to Belmar, just be sure you are going to be paying or just be aware that you're going to be paying a pretty penny for it. Heading back to just Belmar in general, I'll get it outlined again for you. The shopping and dining options in here are going to be very good. The dining are going to be better in actual Belmar, and then more of the shopping will be a little bit outside of it. So this little kind of area over here off of Main Street, this is going to be like your downtown area in Belmar. Very nice location. A lot of different restaurants. So here on 10th Ave, you'll have 10th Ave Burrito, Federici's. You got Flames Brazilian Steakhouse. Really good spots. All of them are awesome. Beach House Brewery and Anchor Tavern are going to be over here. Beach House is a really nice one. Actually, my wife and I had our engagement party over there. Really solid location. What else we got? Really good seafood restaurant over here, Klein's. That's another good one. I enjoy going there. But this Main Street area, that's gonna remind you of your typical like downtown style kind of place. Marina Grill is an awesome spot overlooking the water. This is gonna be out in the western port, so that's gonna be a little off the street or off the downtown section, but not very far. And a lot of stuff, guys, as you can see, lot size wise, very walkable. It's kind of like similar to like in New York City where you can get up and down very easily. So if you go out in Belmar and you want to walk back to your house, it's very common for people to do so. And you might even find a little bit more of a younger demographic here versus some other beach towns because it has a pretty good nightlife to it. But I did forget to mention that. You can just see from the homes right here, and it's going to be like that for many other spots. The lot size is typically like 50 by 100. They might be a little deeper than they are wide. So just something to be concerned about. If you don't want to be on top of your neighbors, it might not be the best place to live. But overall, you're going to find a ton of good different restaurants down here in Belmar. So people will come from outside the town, and obviously everyone that lives there will be walking inside. Shopping wise, you're going to want to take Route 35 and go more into this wall section over here. You're going to have ShopRite just for food stores alone. ShopRite's there. You're going to have an Aldi. I think it's this one. Somewhere over here, Aldi is at. As you get closer down here, you're going to have Acme, Whole Foods, other stores like Target. They're going to be around here. Well, they're not showing up for me. There we go. Me moms. Dollar Tree, Target is literally right there, just not coming up. But in general, through 35, this is going to be your main drag for any type of shopping that you want to get done. I will say you're better off coming down this way a little bit more than trying to do any shopping in Belmar, especially during that peak season. So like when you have a bunch more tourists in there, anything around that time frame, things are going to be jacked up in price a little bit because I mean they got you right. You're already there. You're not going to want to drive too far, or you don't have a vehicle. You're on vacation, whatever the case is. So definitely Route 35. Use that. You'll find everything from all the stores I just mentioned, food stores, Target, Dollar Tree, and whatever else you might need. Route 35 is going to be it. And then the last thing I want to cover is going to be just the entertainment options. So I've mentioned a few times just having a pretty vibrant downtown or nightlife. Obviously, the Jersey Shore, we mentioned it with the prices too. You can go hang out at the beach all day and then go out at night. Bar A, bar anticipation, that's probably going to be one of the hotter spots. On Tuesdays, do a beat the clock style. So if you get in before 8 o'clock, you don't have to pay a cover. Afterwards, it used to be $10. I don't know if I'm showing my age or if it's still the same or not. I have no idea. But used to be $10 every Tuesday night before 8 o'clock. Got in for free. Or after 8, you paid the cover. Again, don't know if the same price. Haven't been there in about 7, 8 years probably at this point. Um, the beers just start at 50 cents and they work their way up every single hour by a quarter. So that's what they used to be. No idea if it still is now. Haven't been back in a while. So that's going to be one of the bigger spots. And then the other big one's definitely going to be more in the southern part of Belmar. DJs, it's going to be overlooking the ocean. Not my personal taste. I wasn't a big fan of going there. I've been a few times. I'm more of a bar person myself. Just different vibe, different atmosphere. But if you're looking for just a party style, DJs are definitely going to be it. Very loud in there, tight, very packed. Whereas bar A, you have some outdoor areas to them, and they're going to be a little more spacious, I would say. Still can be jam packed, but not as bad as I think DJs would be. But overall, the top two locations to go out in my opinion, would be there. And there's other spots along the main street too you can go to, like you said, the brewery over there. That's more of a daytime vibe to it than it would be for nighttime, but just plenty of different spots up and down Main. If you want to go outside of Belmar a little bit, before I don't know if you guys saw it pop up over here. Oh, now Target wants to show up for me. Golf King, this is a pretty fun one. We actually I did a bachelor party trip there. We got rained out of the course we were supposed to go to, and it basically is just going to be virtual style golf inside. So with the simulator, we played like different courses, did a scramble. It's a very fun time. They sell memberships throughout the year, so that's something if you want to go do. It's very, very good. You could play during the off season here, which obviously we have a winter here in New Jersey. So if you want to play from, I don't know, November to February, March, at least you can be inside, be warm, and still get get a couple games in. Another fun thing to do over here is going to be Good Sports. This is going to be like an outdoor plus indoor soccer field. They do field hockey, lacrosse, flag football. So they have a couple different sports leagues for all different ages. For kids, they'll do training sessions. They have summer parties there. And if you want to even play in adult leagues, you can do that too. I played in an over 30 soccer league over there, so that's one of my favorite spots to go to. and are one of our team's favorite spots to play in. So we do that every Monday night. So if anyone's looking, we could always use some players too. Um, Shameless plug right there. But overall, that's most of the main stuff if you wanted to be able to do in Belmar. It's more heavy on the nightlife than maybe some other towns. Whereas Point Pleasant, you have the boardwalk, the games, the arcades, mini golf, and that kind of a different vibe, I would say. Whereas they still have an adult population that goes there, but a little bit more family friendly than I guess Belmar would be in a sense. So overall, if you guys are looking to make a move to the Belmar area, buying or selling, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is down low in the comments and description. So whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even year out, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you want to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, check out the videos popping up and hopefully help out a bit too. Have a great day.